وأئمة أربع مجتهدين مقلديهم إلا يوم الدين أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is the second class of the Umdat'l Muta'Abideen. Umdat'l Muta'Abideen on the second series of the Maliki Fiqh series. And today we'll be going into Ilm Furul al-Dhahira. Ilm Fiqh, the science of jurisprudence, the science of the outward branches of the deen, right? And this section is on pure water. Now, mind you, if everyone paid attention to and went over the Umdat'l Bayan with me, the first section of the ilmu fiqh, the science of jurisprudence, we dealt with pure water. And water, originally pure water, water in itself is part of every living thing, has the essence of water. It's like every living thing that is movable, it has a ruh, it has a soul. And like I had mentioned in Umdat'l Bayan, that water is pure, and it makes other things pure, right? And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we have made everything living from water. Thus, water is the foundation of life in all things. The outward life is existence is existence of water within it, and the inward life. The existence in the inward is that it has a ruh, it has a soul, a spirit. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in relations to the to waters that we have sent down pure water from the heavens. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he sends the rain down, the rain gives life to the earth, right? Where things begin to germinate and cultivate and grow. In the Sheikh Abdullahi Dan Fodio, Taqaddam Allah bi rahmati, I mean, he had mentioned in his Diyat Ta'wil, this expression is significant regarding purification or water's ability to be utilized as a purifying agent from ritual impurities and from impure matter, right? That the water purifies the body in wudu or in ghusl from ritual impurities, and that the places that need to be clean and water cleans them. And in relation to the classifications of water, there are some water that is utilized for wudu and ghusl, and some water that is utilized for cleaning things. Like, and then when impure, say for example, if impure things enter a pond, a large body of water, right? The whole large body of water does not become impure because something impure had entered it. But say, for example, that there's a 5-gallon bucket and something impure enters the bucket, right? Because it's a vessel, depending on the size of the impure thing that enters it, the whole water doesn't become impure, but only a portion. Now, if you take water and continue to add water to that bucket, it will flush out the impure matter, right? It will flush it out to purify to make all of it purified again. That's what is meant by uh, uh, water is pure. Ma'u tahir binafsihi bighayrihi. It is water is pure in itself, and it makes other things pure. All right, so as it relates to things that intermix with it, it's like, for example, if water changes its taste, its color, and its smell, then if it changes smell, it may not be pure enough for you to make wudu and ghusl with it, but it may be pure enough for you to cleanse things with it. If it loses taste and smell, changes taste and the smell. Some things that alter the color of the water, the color may still be pure, but you can't use it for anything. You can't use it for cleaning. You can't use it for wudu. Now, there's no based on the most famous opinion. There's no harm in filtered water found in the wilderness whose cause of alteration may be unknown. If impure things fall into stagnant water, then it spoils its purity in the opinion of Imam Abu Hanifa, whether the water is a lot or is a little. In the opinion of Imam Malik is that it is spoiled if it alters the taste, if it alters the smell, right? But in the Shafi opinion, it's the same as that of Imam Abu Hanifa. If the water is less than two large jars of water, it is the same as Malik if the water is equal to two large jars of water or more. As Imam Shafi's opinion about running water is the same as that of stagnant water, right? Imam Abu Hanifa said that running or flowing water does not become impure if the traces of the impurities cannot be seen. So this Quranic verse is an indication that if it is necessary to purify the outward limbs with water, then it is even more appropriate to purify the inward from unclean base character traits, because the inward is the lucus of divine secrets. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says regarding the reason for the creation of pure water as as an absolute purifying agent. We have sent down from the heavens water so that he may purify himself by it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and he sent down upon you from the heavens water so that he can purify yourselves by means of it, to remove from yourselves the filth and remove from yourselves the filth and the idolatry of shaitan, in order to strengthen your hearts and make your feet firm by means of it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says he is the one who dispatches the winds and as hurls from the very presence of his mercy, and we sent down from the heavens pure water in order to revive a dead land. And then he says we sent down from the heavens blessed water, and we caused to grow by means of its gardens and seeds and harvest, and lofty date palms which germinate regularly as a provision for the servant. And we give life to a dead land. Likewise is the resurrection. So this is the Quranic ayat and explanation that's related to water. the Sheikh, he also said that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said Allah Ta'ala created water pure. Nothing contaminates it except what changes its color, its taste, and its smell. This prophetic tradition was related by Ibn Majah, right? One of the Sunan of Ibn Majah. As the Shaykh who he mentioned in the Umdat'l Bayan, Ma'al Tahir absolutely eliminates absolutely eliminates ritual impurity, hadith, and it removes as that which is judged as filth, kaba'ith, khabeth. It is that which applies to the name water without clarification, and which is not altered in its color, taste, and smell by anything which would usually alter it by pure things or impure things. Pure water is not impaired by that which is in proximity of it, even if it is impacted by grease, by the smell of tar, the container of the traveler, by something which grows out of it, or by something at its bottom, like salt, like salt. The meaning of his words, eliminating ritual impurity, hadith, and it removes as that which is judged as filth by means of unaltered, water is regardless if the water is sweet or salty, right? It has been related in Tabarani on the authority of Abdullah al Mutalaji that he once went to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and said, "O Messenger of Allah, Ya Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, verily we ply the seas and we bring with us limited amounts of water, which if we use for ablution, we will become thirsty. Can we make ablution from the seawater?" The Prophet ﷺ, he said, "It's water. Its water is pure, and what dies in it is permissible." Right? Al-Hamidi said that, as Shafi'i said, that this prophetic tradition is half of the science of purification. All right, so as it relates this to what as it relates to Imam Malik, this opinion of Malik, due to its abundance, because abundant water means that which equals to and exceeds two great jars, and it is not altered by what falls into it by these things. Abundant water is not made impure by anything which does not alter it. His proof being the prophetic position, the prophetic tradition, when water reaches the equivalent of two great jars, then it cannot be considered as impure. Sheikh Ahmed ibn Naqib al-Misri, mashallah, Sheikh Ahmed ibn Naqib al-Misri said, two great jars is equal to approximately 500 Baghdadi liters. Now, who is Sheikh Ahmed ibn Aqib al-Misri? If anyone has ever read Umdat'l Salik, this is the author of Umdat'l Salik, or the Reliance of the Traveler. Reliance of the Traveler is the translation. Sheikh Nur Hamim Keller, my sheikh, he had translated this like in the early 80s during the first tobacco in Syria, right? During that time, when he finished his I think his masterate at University of Chicago, Illinois, University of Illinois in Chicago. He had went to go study in the early 80s. And one of his first projects was that he translated Umdat'l Salik, right? reliance of the traveler. So Ahmed ibn Aqib al-Misri is the author of that. So mashallah. Thus, when impurities fall into water and it does not predominate its smell, uh, color, or taste, then knowledge of the state of the pure water is known. Right. This is because these impurities will be altered by the nature of the water which predominates it, and thus it can no longer be considered impurities or filth. It is therefore necessary to make ablution with this water, to make wudu with this water, as it has been verified by a group among the imams, except when the amount of water is equal to 2 great jars or less, then there is no unanimity regarding it. This has been specified in the prophetic tradition related by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, where the Prophet ﷺ said, "Water is not made impure by anything." This prophetic tradition is sound, as narrated by Imam Bukhari, Muslim, Nasa'i, at Tirmidhi, and Ibn Khuzaymah, and others. Shaykh Uthman ibn Fodio, rahmatullahi, said in his Maratul Twalab, this is another text that is this is also a comparable text that you go over, Maratul Twalab, after Umdat'l Muta'Abideen. Says it says that it says in the Umdat'l Bayan commentary, the commentary upon the Akhdari, when water is altered in its color and taste, then it is considered impure by consensus. However, when it is altered in its smell, then it is considered impure based upon what is well known from the Maliki school of thought. It has been related by Ibn Majusum. Water is not considered impure by the alteration of its smell. It says in the Miftah Sadat, the commentary upon the Irashad al-Salik, there's no disagreement regarding the first two, meaning the color or taste of water. Abdul Malik said there is no negative consequence regarding the alteration of the smell of water, but the most famous opinion is contrary to that. Right, it's contrary to that. So the Sheikh, he said, I say those who give no consideration to the alteration of the smell of water rely upon the fact that it was omitted in some of the above narrated prophetic traditions. Right? Al-Qarashi said in his commentary on the Muqtasar, when the author said, as long as it is not altered in its color, taste, or smell, the author mentioned the color before the taste due to the rigor of the disagreement regarding it. Otherwise, it is obligatory to give precedence to taste because of the agreement regarding it. He mentioned the smell last due to the weakness of the difference regarding it, because the most famous opinion of the school of Imam Malik is the alteration of smell of water harms it, as Ibn Arafa and others explicitly stated. Also, the ritual, the ghusl, the ritual ghusl bath from ritual impurities, janaba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, and when you are in a state of ritual uncleanness, purify yourselves. Purify yourselves. So the ritual bath Allah has given us to eat and drink. When they look at my Allah has given me to eat and drink. When they look at my physical condition, they all believe as a result. It's from Al Madani, and many scholars said that Abu Amama died in the year 86 Hijra. This particular prophetic tradition is evidence with those who adhere to the Maliki method that water is only made impure by what changes it in the color, taste, and smell, and with its complete end, the section on the pure water and successors with Allah. So the linguistic meaning of the term ghusl, right, is complete bathing of the entire body, right? Its meaning, according to the Sharia, is the inundation of water over the entire body, and to follow the flow of water with rubbing. Because in one of the one of the akams in the Maliki school is that every portion of the body we have to rub it, right? We just can't pour the water on the body. Well, rubbing it is consistent. When you're washing the hands, you have to rub it. Elbows, face, every part of the body you have to rub, right? Um, with the intention of removing impurities, or to make permissible an obligation, which is performed based upon a design order, designated order or specific number. The Sheikh who mentioned the issue of ritual bath before mentioning the issue of wudu, because it is obligatory upon the person entering into Islam. First is a ritual bath. So when an individual takes shahada, after the individual takes shahada, they must make a ghusl. So the first thing that we instruct the new shahada is how to perform ghusl, because the ghusl completes the the testification of entering into Islam. The reason why individual who leave Islam and come back, who apostates from Islam and come back, does not have to make ghusl, is because when they entered in Islam the first time, they had already prepared, they already made ghusl upon entering it. When they come back into Islam, they just make wudu, because apostasy is one of the things that breaks the wudu. All right, so they only make wudu. Um, um, the religious bathing of the body has been made lawful for many circumstances. Among them is the bathing for entering Islam, as we mentioned. Then the ritual bath for the release of ejaculation fluid, if it is known. Then the ritual bath when the same is released without knowledge, like when one discovers ejaculation fluid and does not recall having a wet dream. Then the ritual bath for releasing of ejaculation fluid involuntarily and not for the purpose of pleasure. Then the ritual bath due to touching of the private parts, of the two private parts of the opposite sex. Then the ritual bath of the woman's menstruation, menstruating. Then the ritual bath of the woman who has completed her menstruation but has not been completely purified, which she does for each prayer. Then the ritual bath for the blood of afterbirth. Uh, then the ritual bath of the day of Jumu'ah and its prayer. Then the ritual bath of adorning the pilgrimage garments, the pilgrimage garment, the Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, the uh uh im, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, the pilgrimage garb, the ihram, no, the ihram, the garment, the ihram, and then a ritual bath for entering Mecca, then a ritual bath for stopping at Arafat, then a ritual bath for the one who washes the deceased. For each of these ritual baths, there is a legal judgment from the Sharia which is specific to it, and contains a secret from the divine reality which is designated for it. The meaning of the ritual bath with the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the the diffusion of the purification of the soul from all that is connected to it, from the blameworthy expenditures of its traits. For the ritual impurity janaba, to them is remoteness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remoteness from the abodes of servitude. For this, great purification cannot apply except with the overflowing of the lights of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which are all of the praiseworthy characteristics over the intrinsic attributes of the soul, until it is purified from its remoteness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or purified from the abodes of servitude. Now, I wanted to add to this, because the Sheikh he had mentioned the purification of the soul, right, from all that is connected to it, from the blameworthy expenditures. Now, what I wanted to add, what I wanted to mention is in relation to this, because when the great great grandfather of Sheikh Uthman Dan Fodio, to Golam Allah bi rahmati Amin, Sheikh Abu Hassan al-Shadili, rahmatullah alayhi, when he had met, he was going to meet the Qutb. The Qutb was on a mountain, right? Ibn Maqshish. And he went up the mountain, and the Sheikh told him to go back down and make wudu, to purify yourself, to make ablution, to purify yourself. So he went back down, he made wudu, went back down the mountain, he made wudu, a excellent wudu, and then he went back up the mountain again. So the Sheikh, he told him again that you're not purified. Go back down and purify yourself. So he went down a second time, went back up. He told him a third time. On his way down to make ablution a third time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls him to realize what the Sheikh was talking about by purification, by purifying yourself. Right? So what was meant is that, I don't know if anyone has ever heard cup half full, cup half empty, or your cup runneth over. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What the Sheikh meant by purify yourself, purify everything that is inwardly in you. You mean your hasad, basically detach yourself from the dunya. You know what I'm saying? Detach yourself from the concerns of the world, concerns of the carnal desires. Purify yourself. So when he went down and he made ablution again, he removed all of these things that was connected him to the dunya from the heart, right? And he went back. Oh, mashallah. Wa Wa alaikum salam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's my man right here, Rashad Amariki. All right, it's my man Rashad Amariki. Mashallah. Allahumma ameen. All right, so when the Sheikh Abu Hassan al-Shadili, rahmatullahi, when he got back up to the back up the mountain, the Qutb Makhshish, Sheikh al-Makhshish, he was reading the Quran, right? And it appeared to Sheikh Abu Hassan al-Shadili, rahmatullahi, that he was rocking as he was reading the Quran, but he realized that it wasn't the Sheikh that was rocking as he was reading the Quran. It was the mountain that was rocking. And I wanted to add that as a sidebar as it relates to what the Sheikh who he had mentioned, right? In this explanation. So the ayat, well, Allah Ta'ala, he says, and when you are in a state of ritual uncleanliness, purify yourself. In Surah Ma'idah, ayat 6, the meaning of this ayat is that if you become affected by impurity before establishment of the prayer or before you stand for the prayer, then purify yourselves. Now, in the Maliki school, we every time we make wudu, right? We make wudu for reading the Quran. The wudu that we make for reading the Quran, we can't pray with that wudu. We have to make another wudu for the salah to pray to pray the salah. So you can't pray, if you made wudu to read the Quran, you would have to make wudu again if you get ready to pray, right? Now, the ruksa, that the dispensation that can be taken in a school in our schools, that when you make wudu, you make your intention for that wudu for all acts of ibadah, right? So that wudu will cover the reading of the Quran, it will cover the salah, it will cover going to bed before you go to bed. However, it is more recommended that you renew your wudu every time, right? So Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhu, he said the expression "a state of ritual uncleanliness" is an appellation which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses to mean the touching, feeling, and corpulation of sexual intercourse. Sheikh Abdullahi Den Fodio, to God Allah bi rahmati, I mean, he said in his the Yatul Ta'wil, the expression purify yourselves means to be utmost in purification by bathing the entire body. The entire body. Its origin is from the expression purify yourself, which means that the diffusion of water over the entire body is considered an obligation by consensus along with rubbing, according to Imam Malik. But contrary to Shafi, Ahmed, and Abu Hanifa, likewise, this continuity accompanied with mentioning the name of Allah, ability, and intention, contrary to Abu Hanifa. All of these, according to the Malikis, are the obligations of ritual bath. However, Imam Abu Hanifa also makes the rinsing of the mouth and sniffing water into the nose and blowing it out among the obligations, while as Shafi'i makes the running of the fingers through the hair and undoing braids among the obligations. It is narrated in the Sahih of al-Bukhari and on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu that when a man sits in between the four parts of a woman and makes effort with her, then ritual bath becomes obligatory. Uh, become obligatory. The term four-part means a part of a thing. It is said that this refers to her hands, legs. It is also said that it refers to her legs and thighs, between the ankles and thighs. It is said that it refers to the thighs and the pelvis. It is said that it refers to her thighs and the labia. It is also said that it refers to the four lips of her private parts. Private parts. Ashari said the four parts refer to the two inner lips of the woman's vagina and the two outer lips of the labia. Qadi Iyad said that the soundest opinion was that it refers to the four lips of her private parts. So what makes ghusl obligatory in regards to um being with the woman is when the head of the penis enters past the four parts, past the lips, the outer lips and the inner lips. Then that's when ghusl is obligatory. Um, while Ibn Daqiq al-Eid said that it is referred to the woman's hands and legs if it is close to the reality of it is the reality in sitting. The expression makes effort with her. The expression makes effort with her is an affiliation itself of sexual intercourse, which suffices from saying it directly, and it means to reach a point of physical effort. It is said that it means hard work with her, utilizing the movement of the body, or to reach an extreme level of effort and interaction with her. Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, he said the prophetic tradition means that the obligation of the complete ritual bath is not dependent upon ejaculation, although one can assume that what was meant by making effort is ejaculation, since it is the goal of the affair of sexual intercourse. But there's no clear evidence for that. The correct answer is that the explicit absence of the mentioning of ejaculation and what has been narrated in the above mentioned prophetic tradition negates the interpolation in the narration of Muslim by way of Waraq on the authority of Al Hassan, where it states in the last of the prophetic tradition, even if there is no ejaculation. This also occurred in a narration of Qatada, which was narrated by Ibn Khuzaymah in his Tariq on the authority Affan who said that Himmam and Aban narrated to me, saying that Qatada narrated to us, and they mentioned the prophetic tradition where in the end he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if he ejaculates or does not ejaculate. Right now, Qatada is one of the mufassirin from the companions. It was many mufassirin from the companions, those who did comment commentary on the Quran, on the Quran. All right, so this is similar to what was narrated by the Darakutni, and was verified by way of Ali ibn Sahal on the authority of Affan, and what has been likewise narrated by Abu Dawood Tayalisi on the authority of Hamad ibn Salama on the authority of Qatada. Thus, the meaning of the prophetic tradition is that the obligation of the complete ritual bath is not considered not conditioned by the emission of sperm. Rather, whenever the head of the penis enters the vagina, then purify yourselves. That is to say that the complete ritual bath is then obligated upon both the man and the woman. The command in the verse is to take a complete bath with water and to purify oneself by means of it before entering into the prayer which has been established. This is dependent upon there being a means of access to water in order to perform the obligatory purification. The scholars are anonymous regarding the obligation of this purification uh, from the two forms of impurities the confirmed release of sperm fluid during sleep or in the waking state, rather from a man or a woman. It has been related in the Sahih of Bukhari on the authority of Aisha, radiallahu anhu, radiallahu anha, may Allah Ta'ala be pleased with her, who said, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to make ghusl from ritual impurity, he will begin by washing his hands. All right, he will begin by washing his hands. He will then do ablution with the ablution, like the ablution for the prayer. He would then enter his fingers in the water and then rub them through the roots of his hair. He would then pour 3 handfuls of water over his head. He would then run or spread water over his whole body, right? Over his whole body. So Mu'mineen Aisha radiallahu anhu, radiallahu anha, she's the daughter of Abu Bakr Siddiq, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr Abdullah ibn Abi Qahafa Uthman ibn Umar, ibn Amr ibn Ka'b ibn Sa'd ibn Taymi al-Qurayshi Taymiyya al-Makkiyya. She was one of the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the most knowledgeable of the women in the sciences of the religion in the entire Ummah. Aisha radiallahu anha related 2,210 hadith and was a major source of legal decision during the time of the companions in the second generation. She was the first person to get who was qualified to give fatwa. And many of the companions, they learned from Aisha radiallahu anha from behind the screen, from behind the burqa, hijab. The Shaykh who narrated this prophetic tradition in this text from the mother of the believers, Aisha bint Abi Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anha, right? The meaning of her words, Allah radiallahu anha, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make ghusl from ritual impurities, that is to say, what he enacted as shari'i in Sharia, enacted Sharia in the action of in the action of the ghusl. the utilization of genitive particle form from men, in her words, from ritual impurity is used as a causative factor. That is to say that ritual impurity was was the causative factor for him making the ritual, the ghusl. The meaning of ritual impurity, janaba, in the words of the linguist, is spermatic fluid. However, as Hashari said, it is called ritual impurity because it prohibits one from coming near the places of prayer as long as one is not purified. For this expression, you are made remote from it, right? Or you should stay clear of it. Means that you are prohibited from it. The root linguistic meaning of ritual impurity is remoteness. It has been related in the prophetic traditions that the angels do not enter a home in which there's ritual impurities. Ibn al-Athir said the ritual impurity, which is obligatory to take the ritual bath for sexual intercourse and the release of some spermatic fluid, and what is intended by ritual impurity in the above cited prophetic tradition is the neglecting of taking a ritual bath from ritual impurities as a habit until the majority of the time the person is in a state of ritual impurity. This is evidence of the deficiency of his religion and filth of his inner soul. The angels referred in this prophetic tradition do not include the angels responsible for preservation, preservation. Thus, the traditional means that the angels do not enter the home with good, but they enter in order to curse, as it has been narrated in many prophetic traditions. Uh, the concept of ritual impurity in the language of the people of Allah is spiritual remoteness. That is to say, the remoteness of the servant from his true abode required of him, which is none other than the abode of servitude. Or it means that he makes the attributes of lordship remote from its true domain and describe himself by means of them, or that he describes a possible existing thing from the creational possibilities with the attributes of lordship. Then it becomes obligatory for him to purify his soul in that matter without doubt. So the Aisha radiallahu anha, it is also narrated in the Sahih of al-Bukhari on the authority of Aisha radiallahu anha, that whenever one of us, whenever one of us became ritually impure janaba, she would take 3 handsfuls of water over her head, then take her hand and make it over the right portion of her body, with the other hand over the left portion of her body. With the left portion of body. The meaning of her words, whenever one of us became ritually impure, refers to the wives of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? Because the time Aisha, she narrated 2,210 hadith. Salama, she narrated some hadith as well. Hafsa, she narrated some hadith, because the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he spent time with each one of his wives. Like when the Sahaba, they wanted to know how the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam dealt with his wives, they was forthcoming with this information, because like there's an outward sunnah, there are some sunnahs that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam performed with his wives that the rest of the Ummah wouldn't know about if the companions didn't ask these questions. All right, so Um, this prophetic tradition from Aisha has the judgment of being referenced back to him, because it sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it apparent is its apparent expression is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was acquainted with what they did. This was the determination of Bukhari regarding her expression, because the judgment of the words of the companion who said, "We used to do so and so," has the legal judgment of being referred to back to the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, regardless if the attribution to his time sallallahu alaihi wasallam was stated explicitly or not. Al-Hakim also asserted the same opinion of this judgment. Al-Hakim, he said, Al-Hakim said, when seminal fluid flows from the servant during the waking state or sleep, then it obligates him to make a ritual, make a ghusl. Likewise, when it comes out during the departing of his spirit at death, it is also obligates it. Thus, the deceased must be given the ritual bath. So when the soul leaves the body, you know what I'm saying, in death, it's also it obligates for the deceased to be given his last ghusl. Ritual impurity prohibits the recitation of the Quran, because inner purity is the entire objective of recitation. Such a man, if he does not take the ritual bath in this life due to something which prevented him, then then had 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 for had then had forfeited the purification required to reach the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The occurrence of ritual impurity is with the customary release of spermatic fluid, even if it occurs during sleep, with the insertion of the hand of the with the insertion of the head of the penis or a part of it into the vagina. If the male is not mature, then ritual bath if it's not mature, then ritual bath is not necessary, except if there is the release of sperm, or if he is a teenager. It also occurs with the cease with the ceasing of the blood of menstruation, the blood of childbirth, and uh, the birth of a child, even when no blood is seen. I want this part right here. What is mentioned here. I remember a class that I was taking, and this was I was Maliki at this time, but one of my teachers, he was Shafi. I had learned the Shafi school from him, and he was going over it was a primary text called El Iqna in the Shafi school, and it mentioned the portion he was going over is about what necessitates ghusl, and it's a portion in El Iqna that talks about the kuntha, right? Talking about the kuntha. For all those who don't know what a kuntha is an individual who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave two sexual organs, gave him the male organ and gave him the female organ. All right, and gave him the female. Mashallah, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Mashallah, he popped up right when I talked about. But anyway, as I continue, I'm laughing because it's my teacher. He popped up in the feed on Facebook, and he was going over this portion. He was talking about the kunta and what, and I bet you're gonna be surprised. I remember this, but he was talking about the kunta, that if you don't know, if you can't, if it's not determined what the sex is, that if you was married to a kunta and you enter them, then you wouldn't have to make wudu. I mean, you wouldn't have to make ghusl, right? You wouldn't have to make ghusl. But once it's determined, then you have to make ghusl once it's determined. But if it's not determined, then you don't. And I wanted to you know what I'm saying, that's the reason why I mentioned it. And I know he probably gonna beat me up later. Mashallah. You know what I'm saying? It's my sheikh. You know what I mean? You still my sheikh. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. This is one of my teachers. I learned everything from him. I learned Quran. I learned fiqh. I learned hadith. Um, I learned hijama. I learned everything from him. Traveled, lived with him, put in work with him. You know what I mean? Our children grew up with each other. We got children around the same age. They all grown men now, grown women now. But mashallah, I mean, these things are some of the things that uh, cause you to actually really know people. You know what I mean? Um, Companions, friends. You know what I mean? Alhamdulillah, I pray everything is well with you, Sheikh, and you know what I'm saying, and your health as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase you and continue to put barakah in your work. You know what I mean? Put barakah in your work and barakah in all of your offsprings, all the children. Mashallah. Nah, nah, mashallah. No, so um the second part, the meaning of her words, she would take three handfuls, is that she would take her hand and take three handfuls of water, as it states in another narration. In fact, Ismaili stated this explicitly in his narration. The meaning of her words, over her head, that is to say that she would take it and pour water over the top of her head. In the narration of Ismaili, she said she would take water she would take water with her hands, and then pour over her head. The meaning of her words, then take her hand, make it over the right portion of her body, and with the other hand over the left portion of her body. Is that first, it gives evidence for the lawfulness of proper order, tortatib, right? The prophetic tradition, the prophetic tradition also gives evidence of a person cleaning the right portion of his body first. The Shehu Tagadamullah Birahmati Amin said in his Umdat'l Muta'Abideen, in the chapter on the obligation of the ritual of ghusl, and the sunnah, the obligation of the ghusl are five: the intention, the niyyah, covering the entire body with water, continuity, wiping the entire body, and making water penetrate the hair. Its sunnah are four: beginning with the washing of the hands up to the wrists, rinsing out the mouth, sniffing the water. Mashallah. Washing out the mouth, sniffing the water, and wiping earlobes. Um, the erudite authority of the land, the of Balad Sudan, the Black Lands, Sheikh Abdullahi then Fodio to Qadam Allah bi rahmati Amin said in his Ulumuddin regarding the methodology of making the ghusl. As for the methodology of the ghusl, it is that he places his hands in the water container, which should be on his right side, and wash his hands 3 times. Right. He then cleans his private parts in order to remove any filth from his body, if there is any. Then he performs the ablution, like the ablution for the prayer. Then he pours water over his head, washing it 3 times. Then he pours water over the right part of his body, then the left part of his body, all the while rubbing his body with his hands, making sure to rub front to back, right? Front to back. He should also rub into his beard in order for water to reach underneath it. Now it's just talking about the ghusl. Now for wudu, if you got a big beard, you just make masa over your beard. Unless you have a beard like mine, then you have to make sure that you wash that part of the face, you know what I'm saying, in wudu or in ghusl, because I don't have a big beard. What I have is all that I can grow, except for the portion of the beard that I have the most hair of. And in the Maliki school, in the Maliki school, the portion the beard is this portion right here. This is the beard. Every other part of the beard, the beard has eight parts, but the part of the beard that you can never cut off, you can never cut it or trim it, is this part right here. You can't do it, right? You can't cut it off, right? Even if it's one string, you can't cut it or pluck it, right? It becomes blameworthy, right? So underneath it, if it is thick, he should be sure to wash uh the bends and curves in his body, the crevices, right? Making sure to avoid touching his private parts. If he touches it during the ritual bath, then he only has to repeat the wudu. And if its completion ends, and with its completion ends the section on the ritual bath on ghusl for major impurities and successes with Allah. So I'm gonna stop here, and next week, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be going into the wudu. Also, what I wanted to mention, all right, the Sheikh, he said touching the private parts. In the Maliki school, the private parts that is specifically is talking about that would have to make wudu is if we touch the penis itself or the penile shaft on either on the light part of the hand. If the back of it touch it, we don't have to make wudu. It doesn't break your wudu. But touching the penile shaft with your hand, it breaks the wudu with the white part. But if you touch the scrotum sac, it doesn't break your wudu at all. All right. So subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati ma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin wa salatu wassalam ala rasul kareem. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everyone, before I go, please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube, and hit the notification bell so every time we upload a video, you will receive the notification. They will be going live. Everyone who's watching on Facebook, please like and share the video to your platform, share the video to your pages, so that we can keep the the algorithm on Facebook going, and we keep the algorithm going on YouTube. All right. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everyone have a blessed evening. Until next week. Also, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be looking for the Hilal for Ramadan uh, in Philadelphia next Tuesday, coinciding with our sighting for Shaban, uh, for the sighting of the Hilal, for our starting of Shaban and the starting of Rajab. All right, so we'll be looking for the Hilal Tuesday. I know the calculation on the calendar said that Ramadan may start. They may start Monday. May start Monday, and they fast Tuesday. But we'll be looking for the Hilal Tuesday, inshallah, based off our sighting. Because sometimes we may be a day off based off our sighting, and we may be a day ahead. But consistently every month we go out and look for the Hilal in Philadelphia. So inshallah ta'ala, everyone have a blessed evening. Like the video, share the video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.